Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor once again for me to be present in front of you. And wonderful people you are, and we are discussing on various topics about motivation, self-help, and popular psychology. And today we will be discussing broadly on various topics such as focusing on your goals, staying away from negative people and negative criticism, the power of your thought, dealing with failure with grace, and preparing for success. Now, before I start with any of the talks, I would like to give you an anecdote from Mahabharata. Dronacharya was training his individuals. They were ranging from Pandavas and Kauravas and other people. And one day he calls them out and asks them to take aim at something, anything they wanted. With their bows and arrows, these disciples are standing straight in the line, and Dronacharya asks them one by one, "What are you aiming at?" He gets vague replies like, "I see some branches, I see some birds flying, some birds sitting on the tree, berries hanging on the branches, the sky and some mountain tops." But when he approaches with a disappointment to Arjuna and asks him, "What are you aiming at? What are you targeting?" Arjuna replied, "I see the eye of a bird." And when Drona asked him to fire, Arjuna shot the bird right on its eye. And that explains why Arjuna is regarded as the greatest archer in all times. What I'm emphasizing here is single-minded focus. Having a concentration and focus like Arjuna on your life. When you look at your goal with such a concentration, all other obstacles, everything else, all other sensory inputs should be removed from your brain. You should literally be deaf and dumb to all other obstacles. Obstacles are the things that you see when your eyes are not on your goal, says an English proverb. Having said that, let's move on to positive thinking. Thoughts. Thoughts become things. It's more than just a pep talk. It is a metaphysical truth realized by people who are great. The greatest philosophers and thinkers of yesterday have realized thoughts become things. Thoughts are the influential force in life. Everything that you see, the cell phone I have, the laptops, the trains that you travel, everything is a second creation. The first creation was in the creator's mind. The mind of a man is a capable instrument that can create worlds that never existed before. And that explains how thoughts are powerful. Psychology says there are 80,000 thoughts coming up in your brain in a period of 24 hours. And amongst them, 87% are negative, mostly negative. It's easier for a human being to think negative thoughts than positive. Faced up with adversity, most people fall prey into emotions, into things like depression, anxiety, fear, and doubt. I am no different. I myself have my share of negative things in the recent past. I've faced a lot of emotions controlling me. What happens when emotion controls you? Your intelligence is faded away. You become victim to emotions. There are two parts of the brain in this context we have to discuss. The prefrontal cortex, that which is behind your forehead, and the amygdala, that which is inside. The prefrontal cortex is the thinking center. It gives you intelligence. Whereas amygdala, that is the emotional center, that is responsible for all your emotions, all your feelings. As long as you let your amygdala control your entire system, you become victim to your emotions. So it is necessary for us to be intelligent all the time. It is nothing wrong to be emotional. It is not to be taken in the wrong sense. There's nothing wrong to be emotional, but as long as you let your emotions control you, most of your day and most of your life is at the grace of fate. Having said that, we will move on to another interesting thing about the potential of the mind. Comparing to what we are capable of doing and what we are actually doing, we are only living at the tip of an iceberg. Most of the iceberg, as you see, the 90% of the iceberg of our mind containing all the latent potentials and abilities is not used up at all. We are all fed up with what we are performing because we don't use our mental faculties, and we end up living an average, mediocre life. Most people, though they have latent potentials and abilities, they do not want to succeed in life. They want to live a smooth, average, walk on the cake life. They settle for being simple. They want to play it safe because taking risks dreads fear, causes them to be afraid of something new. As I was discussing yesterday, fear of failure springs from uncertainty, from unfamiliar events. So successful people, they are not just blind risk takers. They take risks, calculated risks, knowing that success does not involve not taking risks. It has to have some risk factor in it. If you want to be a lion, train with lions. That brings us to the other one we were discussing. The negative people in our life, the people who try to bring us down, stay away from them. If you want to train like a lion, be with lions. That introduces another story I would like to shortly tell you. There was an eagle on a mountain top. He laid 4 eggs. During an earthquake, one of these eggs rolled down all the way to a farm below where chickens were bred. The oldest hen in the farm, he thought that as a chicken egg, and he took him and took care of him. When the egg hatched, an eagle came out, but none of the group realized that it was an eagle. Even the eagle thought it was a chicken. So he grew up with a chicken, and he used to look at the sky every day, watching all the birds flying. Sometimes he used to witness huge birds like eagles themselves flying, soaring so high, and he used to wonder why is that these hens and chickens were not able to fly. One day he projected the question to the oldest hen, "I would like to fly like these birds. I wonder if I could soar and reach heights so that I can see the world from the top." On hearing this, all the other chickens laughed at this eagle and said, "You are just a hen. You are not an eagle. You cannot fly. It is impossible." But somewhere down the eagle's mind, he knew that he was different. He had something that the chickens did not have. But his conditioning, he was born as an eaglet, but he was conditioned as a chicken. So he was wondering, and one day he decided to take a risk of going to the cliff edge. He spread his long wings that stretched 6 foot, and as he fell, he started flying. And that is when he realized that he was actually doubting the right thing. He was not a chicken, he was an eagle. Then he flew higher and higher. He grew so higher that one day he realized he could see the world in a different perspective that the hens would never see. And that proves a point. Some of us are still eagles in a group of chickens. What do you choose to be? Eagle or a chicken? So there is an African proverb that says, if there is no enemy inside, the enemy outside can do you no harm. There will be a lot of negative people coming into your life, but there is a strong fortress of the mind which shouldn't let people get into you. If people say you are incapable of doing something, prove them wrong. If they say that you do lack potential, it's time for you to grow up. The reason why people pull you down is because you are already grown. It's because you're ahead of them and they are afraid of your growth, your insecurity. His insecurity, use your strength. Do not share your weakness to people, because 80% of the audience, 80% of the people listening to you do not care what happens to you, and the remaining 20% are glad that it happened to you. grow strong, grow immune to negativity. It is very important what kind of people you associate in life, because people have the power to influence your character. You unconsciously become like-minded with the people you hang out with. Be careful and choosy in the people you bring into your life. Negative people are everywhere. Everybody will hurt, but find people who are worth suffering for. If stones are thrown at you, collect them and construct castles that are strong. Dealing with failure is a difficult task. People will laugh at you, but do not be discouraged. Moving on to failure. Failure is a wonderful thing. It is a disguised success. Success is at the far end of failure. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in history, he was rejected from his high school basketball team, saying that he had no latent potential, he had no latent ability. He was never going to make into the basketball team. He failed 26 times in a match-winning shot in his career. And when he was asked, what is your secret of success? After he became the most valuable player of NBA, he was asked, what is your secret for success? He said, I failed, and I failed, and that is why I succeed. Yes, failure. It's a very much repeated terminology. Failure is the stepping stone for success. And be proud to be a failure. Be happy that you lost, because in the long run, you're going to succeed. Thank you for listening. I bored you down. Thanks for all the patience every day that you're offering me. I hope I motivated as many people as possible, because that is the aim of all my talks here. Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you.